forest, which of the following statements are correct? Some random declaration on forest. I haven't heard of this in any material. I haven't noticed this in the newspaper during my reading. It might have come as a news, but I haven't noticed. So in that situation as an aspirant, how am I going to crack this one? It was first endorsed at the United Nations Climate Summit in 2014. Okay, it can or cannot be a right one. It endorses a global timeline to end the loss of forest. Okay, that's a positive statement. That can be a good one because there is nothing in there to eliminate. In the first statement, I can eliminate if I need because there is 1 year given there, 2014. So it can either be 2015 or 2012 or so it can go wrong. Comparing to that, statement 2, there is nothing there to eliminate. It endorses a global timeline to end the loss of forest. It's a positive statement, nothing is there to eliminate. So compared to statement 1, I am taking 2 as the right one. Then the next one, it is a legally binding international declaration. It's a legally binding declaration. And as an aspirant, I have not come across such an internationally binding legal agreement. Is out of my common sense because if it was an internationally legal binding agreement, I might have come across that in any material. Okay. So as per my common sense, I am eliminating 3 right now. And my feeling is that 2 is right and 3 is wrong right now. And for 1, I don't know the status right now. So if I eliminate 3, I can eliminate 2 statements only. That is option B and C. So I am left with A and D. So there is a 50-50 chance right now. So if I eliminate option 3, statement 3, there is a 50-50 chance. That is, the chance increases very much. From 1 out of 4, now I have 1 out of 2. Now I am moving to statement 4. It is endorsed by governments, big companies and indigenous communities. So that is also a positive one, but still that can go wrong. If what if it is an intergovernmental body? So this can go wrong. So it can go right or wrong. Still, it's a positive statement. And India was one of the signatories at its inception. So that is a wrong one. Because if India was a signatory to this one, I would have come across it. I would have read it in any newspaper. I would have read it in any current affair compilation or any material. If India was a signatory, and they have given it as India was one of the signatories at its inception. So from the starting itself, if India was there, it might have or it should have appeared in most of the newspapers multiple times. So I can easily eliminate statement 5. I am eliminating statement 5. If I eliminate statement 5, I can eliminate B and D. Okay, I have eliminated B and D. So that's pakka sure. I have eliminated B and D. So now I have 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. So 2, I have already told you 2 can be a right one. So that is there. And in statement 3, it is 3 and 4. There is no 2 there. As per our logic, 2 can be a good right answer because there is nothing in there to eliminate. So since I have eliminated statement 5, B and D are eliminated and I am left with A and C. Since there is no statement 2 in option C, I can only go with option A, that is 1, 2 and 4. That is, first statement is true, second statement is true and fourth statement is true. I am going with it because no other way I can go to another answer. Okay, I am bubbling it and it is 1, 2 and 4. So I haven't heard of this thing. I don't know the status of most of these statements. Still, with 2 statements, that is statement 2, I know it is true. It can be true, 90% it can be true. and statement 5 I can easily eliminate it. So with these two, eliminating one and confirming one, I can easily crack such a difficult question. See, these are the kind of questions that are asked in the prelims that can easily be cracked. The question appears difficult, but it is easily crackable. If the question appears difficult, it is easily crackable if you eliminate one statement. So in most of these questions, I have eliminated one statement. In most of these questions, I don't know the status of one or two statements. In most of these questions, my gut feeling says that some statement, at least one statement can be right. So upon eliminating one statement, I can reach the answer of these statements from an aspirant's point of view. So after completing this much question, I haven't gone through any of the content. I haven't gone through any of your textbook material. I haven't referred to any of those things. I just used some elimination. I just used my common sense to eliminate these questions. Okay. So let's move on to another question. This was from Polity. We adopted parliamentary democracy based on the British model, but how does our model differ from that of model? Usually comparison questions come in mains, and here in the prelims they have asked a comparison between the parliamentary democracy system of India and Britain, and we have two statements. As regards legislation, British Parliament is supreme or sovereign, but in India the power of Parliament to legislate is limited. Just think of it. So they are saying that British Parliament is supreme or sovereign with regard to legislation, and in India the power of Parliament is limited. So think of how it is limited. If it is limited, then statement 1 is true. If it is not limited in your opinion, then statement 1 is wrong. Okay, think of the ways in which it can go right or wrong. So I'll come to that point. Then next, statement 2, in India, matters related to the constitutionality of amendment of an act of parliament are referred to the constitution bench by the Supreme Court. Okay. So two statements. When comparing two statements, I think I should go with the first statement. So I am taking it again. So the power of the parliament to legislate is limited. I am thinking how it is limited. First of all, it is limited by the constitution, right? It is limited in somewhat by the constitution. Then there we have union list, state list and concurrent list. So in state list, the parliament's power is limited because only using some particular procedures or some particular in particular situations that parliament can legislate in state list. So two things came to my mind. First of all, constitution itself provides some kind of limitations, right? Then second one, we have a list that can be legislated by the parliament only under certain circumstances or certain situations or following certain procedures. So the legislation procedure is not unlimited, it is limited. It is limited. I am not going through some textbook material, I am just following my logics. I am just following my logics. Because see, in state subjects, states have an upper hand. Still, parliament can legislate, but following some certain procedures or in some certain occasions only. So there is some limitation. Okay. So I am taking one as a right statement. Okay. Then go to the statement 2. So right now one is correct, and that leaves option A and C remaining. I have eliminated option B and D. So now we are into the 50-50 chance. If you reach a 50-50 chance for a particular question, do not leave it unattempted. Okay. If you are able to eliminate two options, do not leave it unattempted. Go through the question and options once again, mark the one of those two remaining options. Okay. And Now, right now, I am going to statement 2. In India, matters related to the constitutionality of the amendment of the Act of Parliament are referred to the Constitution bench by the Supreme Court. True? True? So, who has the power to check the constitutionality of the laws in India? It's the judiciary, it's the Supreme Court, right? Because they are the interpreter of the Constitution. They have the power of judicial review. Judicial review is a part of the basic structure of the Constitution. So, in India, matters related to the constitutionality of the amendment of the Act, whether it is an amendment or any other law, its constitutionality are referred to the Constitution bench by the Supreme Court. So, there is nothing that can go right now. So, I am going with both these. So, both 1 and 2 are right. Okay, next one, similar from Polity. With reference to India, consider the following statement. There is only one citizenship and one domicile. Yes, there is only one Indian citizenship and we have only one domicile. That is, we are Indians. Okay. Logic. A citizen by birth only can become the head of the state. A citizen by birth. Till now, I don't think we have person who have acquired citizenship who have become the head of the state. Head of the state means President of India. Almost all the presidents till now are by birth Indian citizens, I think. And so, statement 1 is true and 2, I don't know the status right now. I am keeping it right there right now. And as per my feeling, I think that is a wrong one, because a citizen by birth only is there, only makes the statement an extreme one. Okay, so since only is there, my feeling is that can be a wrong one. Okay, so I am going to the next one to confirm it. A foreigner once granted citizenship cannot be deprived of it under any circumstances. So that is a very extreme statement. Once a foreigner is granted a citizenship, it cannot be deprived under any circumstances. That is an extremely wrong statement. So once granted, it can be taken because it was granted. So granted, it can be taken back. So following that logic, I am eliminating statement 3. Upon eliminating statement 3, I am left with A 1 only and B 2 only. So 1 only and 2 only, and I know that 1 is true. So I'll go with A, option A, 1 only. So that makes 2 the wrong statement also. That is the right answer. Then another question from 2020. Consider the following statements. So this is also some random statements based on a familiar thing, but those statements, even if those are random, those should be known to an aspirant. Since aspirants are not following those type of statements, they will find it difficult when they face these questions. Okay. Since we are following some particular material or something like that, and if it is not in there, we will find it difficult. So this was a question about Aadhaar. Aadhaar is a very familiar thing for all of us. Let's go to the statements. Aadhaar metadata cannot be stored for more than 3 months. That can go wrong because it cannot be stored for more than 3 months. See, government is storing the Aadhaar data, and here the statement is saying that it cannot be stored for more than 3 months. So my logic is working in this style that can be a wrong one, because government is storing the data and they can store it for more than 3 months, or for them 6 months or more than 1 year. They can. So logically, I am going with statement 1 as a wrong one. State cannot enter into any contract with private corporations for sharing of Aadhaar data. Okay, that can be a true one, because the Aadhaar data contains the entire data of people who are residing in India. So if they are sharing it to some private corporation, that means they are sharing the they are violating the right to privacy of Indians, right? They are sharing this with some private corporation, or they can use it for their benefits. So that means it's the violating the right to privacy. So government will not do that. So state cannot enter into any contract with private corporations, can be a right one. So I have eliminated one and I am going with statement 2 as a right one. So in that case, eliminating one means I have eliminated option A and D, and if 2 is correct, then I have option B, 2 and 4 only as the right one, because C contains 3 only. So since I have eliminated 1 and I think statement 2 is right, right now I am with option B only. Okay, I have eliminated 1 and I think that one statement is right. Right now I am with option B. Let's move on to statement 3. Aadhaar is mandatory for obtaining insurance products. See, you or your parents have insurance products, right? And in that case, think whether you have given your, or whether Aadhaar was given mandatorily. You might have given Aadhaar as a proof of address or proof for verification. But whether though that was mandatory, just think. I don't think so, because there are numerous insurance products that are available in India right now, both from public sector and private sector. So private sector is involved there, and I don't think that is mandatory. So I can eliminate 3. Then with 4, Aadhaar is mandatory for getting benefits funded out of Consolidated Fund of India. Yes, I know that for some direct benefit purposes, Aadhaar is necessary. DBT, direct benefit transfer. So in some cases I know it is mandatory. So already I have ensured that, or I have reached option B, 2 and 4 only as the answer. And right now I can ensure it that 4 is right, because I have eliminated 3 also. So upon eliminating one and ensuring 2, I have already reached the answer. And after 3 and 4, I can be ensured that my answer is very right. The next one, according to the Constitution of India, a person who is eligible to vote can be made a minister in a state for 6 months, even if he or she is not a member of the legislature of that state. So see, this is a statement, this is a type of question where you can go wrong if you are not carefully reading the question. See, if you read it quickly, it will go wrong. I'll read it. According to the Constitution of India, a person who is eligible to vote can be made a minister. Okay, within 6 months. So then I will go to my Lakshmikant or DD Bus and think, okay, a person who cannot be, who is not a member can be made a minister for 6 months, and within 6 months he should face election. So I'll be following those things. But not into the minute details of this statement. This statement leads me to my textbook, where some facts from this question are there. So I'll be led in an, I'll be deviated from this question using their wordings. See, what they have written here is that a person who is eligible to vote. So all Indians who are above 18 years are eligible to vote, but they are not eligible to contest in an election. They are not eligible to contest in a state assembly election or to an election to the Lok Sabha. See, eligible to vote means you are only above 18 years. If you need to contest in a state assembly election, you need to be at least 25 years old. So here lies the point. Here lies the carelessness of an aspirant. If you are careless, if you are not noticing this pattern, if you are following only the textbook knowledge that are given in the remaining part of the statement, then I am sure you will mark it, or you will go wrong. So these are the statements that you will feel disappointed, or these are the questions you will feel disappointed when you look at the answer key after your exam. If you read the question, if you read the statements, each statement carefully, then the question makers have set some part for you to eliminate. This statement 1 is not a big thing. Okay, it's just who is eligible to vote. In India, a person who is above 18 years is eligible to vote, but not eligible to contest in a state assembly election. So, I am eliminating statement 1. And according to the statement 2, according to the Representation of People's Act 1951, a person convicted of a criminal offence and sentenced to imprisonment for 5 years is permanently disqualified from contesting an election even after his release from prison. So, that's an extreme statement. If somebody is sentenced for 5 years, he is permanently disqualified. If that was the case, then many of the politicians in India were not eligible to contest in elections. You know many examples. I am not naming anybody, but you know so many examples. So, that permanently is an extreme one. So, I am eliminating statement 2 also. So, in this statement, in this question, I have eliminated statement 1 and statement 2. So, the right answer is neither 1 nor 2. Okay. Next question. The President of India can summon a session of the Parliament at such place as he or she thinks fit. Okay, yeah, that can be a right one. The Constitution of India provides for 3 sessions of the Parliament a year, but it is not mandatory to conduct all 3 sessions. So, look at this point. Here also, you can be misled with this part, provides for 3 sessions of the Parliament, but it is not mandatory to conduct. So, you will be misled into this part and not to the actually wrong part. So, you will think of this, it is not mandatory. Ah, right, I have seen that it is not mandatory. There are 3 sessions, summer budget session, monsoon session, winter session. There are 3 sessions and it is not mandatory. So, if you are being led to this point, then you will go wrong. The actual part lies here. The Constitution of India provides for 3 sessions. There is no such provision in our Constitution. Constitution does not mandatorily provide for 3 sessions. The only thing they have given is that the gap between 2 sessions should not be more than 6 months. That is the only thing that is given in the Constitution. So, this statement 2 is wrong and 1 is right as of now. Okay. There is no minimum number of days that a parliament is required to meet in a year. That is true. Because we know in some sessions, due to the uproar from the opposition, it has ended prematurely or it can be extended prematurely. So, there is no time limit, and in this situation I have eliminated 2, and I think my feeling is that 1 and 3 can be right. So, I am bubbling option C, 1 and 3, and that is the right one, that is the right one. So, simply I am not taking even a minute, I am just taking under 30 seconds to crack almost all these questions. Only in some 3 or 4 or 5 statement I am taking little bit more time, like in the water credit or something like that. So, most of the other questions I am taking less than 30 seconds, and that is useful for you in your second or third rounds, because you will get a lot more time in deciding in the third round. So, next one from modern India. Wellesley established the Fort William College at Calcutta because, so it is about Lord Wellesley. It is about a Britisher who established a college at Calcutta. So, what was the purpose? That is the question. He was asked by the board of directors at London to do so. That can be a possibility. So, Britisher established an institution in India. The purpose they are asking. So, he was asked by his board. That can be a right one. So, keep it there. He wanted to revive the interest in Oriental learning in India. No way, no way. An early Britisher, there is no way he wanted to revive the interest in Oriental learning in India. There is no way, because they are always considered as inferior and they are superior. Okay. So, I eliminated option B. He wanted to provide William Carey and his associates with employment. So, that is an unwanted statement. I am eliminating it. He wanted to train British civilians for administrative purposes in India. That is a good statement, because he is doing it for his own benefits. He established an institution or William College in India for his interest. What is his interest? He wanted to carry out the administration in India smoothly. That is his ultimate interest, to carry out the administration smoothly. So, for that he wanted to train British officials, British civilians. That's why he established a college in India. So, the most suitable answer is D when compared to A. So, I am going it with it. Then, okay, one from science. What is the importance of using pneumococcal conjugate vaccines in India? Frankly, I don't know what this vaccine is about. So, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, I don't know what it is. Still, I am going to the statements because I already told you the difficult looking questions are the most easy ones to crack. So, statement 1, these vaccines are effective against pneumonia as well as meningitis and sepsis. Okay, okay. These vaccines can be effective, I don't know. So, I am keeping it there. Going to statement 2. Dependence on antibiotics that are not effective against drug-resistant bacteria can be reduced. Okay, that is a positive statement. Okay, dependence on antibiotics can be reduced. That is a positive statement. Since you are using a vaccine, dependence on antibiotics can be reduced. Okay, that's good one, positive statement. So, I am taking it as a true. Then third one, these vaccines have no side effects and cause no allergic reactions. That is an extreme statement. It's a vaccine. It has no side effects, no allergic reactions. It's a chemical product, right? Saying it as no allergy or no side effects is an extreme statement. So, I am eliminating 3. So, right now I don't know the status of statement 1. I can make sure that statement 2 is almost right and 3 is absolutely wrong. So, eliminating 3, I am left with option A and B, and right now I need to decide whether 1 only or 1 and 2 only. Since I know that 2 can be a right one, I am going with that one. 1 and 2 are right. So, I don't know the status of this one. I know the status of these 2. So, I have answered that. Then the next one, with reference to British colonial rule in India, consider the following statement. Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in abolition of system of indentured labor. Yeah, that's true. In Lord Chelmsford War Conference, Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution on recruiting Indians for World War. We know that Gandhiji was a man who did not want to take advantage of the disadvantages of the British, right? He always wanted to win the struggle in a righteous way. He did not want to take advantage of their disadvantage. That is, during the World War, they are at a disadvantageous position. That is, British is at a disadvantageous position. So, Gandhiji did not try to take advantage of that because Gandhiji was such a nice person. So, following that, I can eliminate statement 2, and I am eliminating statement 2, and that leaves me only option B, 1 and 3. So, I have eliminated, I have gone through statement 1, that can be a true one. I have gone through statement 2, that as per my sense or as per my logic, that is a wrong one. And then I looked into the options and I am left with option B, 1 and 3 only, because all other options have 2 in it. Let us look at the answer. The answer is 1 and 3 only. Even without looking or even without going to statement 3, I got the answer. So, within under 30 seconds, all these are cracked. Next one, interesting one from 2019. On 21st June, the sun. And they have given 4 options, pretty interesting one from geography. On 21st June, what happens to sun? Okay. Go through these options. Does not set below the horizon at Arctic Circle. Does not set below horizon at Antarctic Circle. Shines vertically overhead at noon on the equator. Shines vertically overhead at the Tropic of Capricorn. So, we know June 21st, it is summer in India, right? It is summer in India. That means sun is above India, right? Sun is above India, or sun is above India means sun is already above the equator. That is, since we are lying in the northern hemisphere, since Tropic of Cancer passes almost through almost through the center of India, it is obvious that sun is above the equator. So, we can eliminate the statement that contains equator or southern hemisphere. Go to the statements. below the horizon at Arctic Circle. Okay, Arctic Circle is in northern hemisphere, so that can be a chance. Does not set below horizon at Antarctic Circle. So that means sun is always present in the Antarctic Circle. Since Antarctic Circle is in the southern hemisphere, we can easily eliminate it because it is summer in India. So sun should be in the northern hemisphere. So I am eliminating statement 2. Shines vertically overhead at noon on the equator. I have already told you we are in the northern hemisphere and sun has already gone above the equator. We can eliminate it. Shines vertically overhead the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Capricorn is in southern hemisphere. So everything else is in either in southern hemisphere or above the equator. So we can eliminate that. Only statement A is right. Next one, usually must have question in every prelims related to map or world geography. Okay. Consider the following pairs. It's sea on one side and bordering countries on the other side. So usually while preparing for UPSC, we will study some 2-3 oceans or 2-3 seas. Even if we are not studying that, 2-3 seas always appear in news. For example, one is Mediterranean Sea due to the issues in the West Asia, Syria, Israel, all those issues. Mediterranean Sea always appears in news. Then the other one is Caspian Sea. Then the other one is Black Sea. Then Red Sea. Then Persian Gulf. These seas or oceans usually appears in news every day. Every day these things happens in news. So we'll be focusing on those familiar things only first. I'm not familiar with Adriatic Sea. Okay, Adriatic Sea, I'm not familiar with that because they have given the bordering country as Albania. Then Black Sea, Caspian Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea. So these 4 are familiar if you read news daily. These 4 are familiar to you if you read news daily. So I'm taking the first one, Black Sea. And they have given it as Croatia. So Black Sea, I cannot connect it to Croatia. Why? Why? Because Croatia is in Europe. Like, even if you don't know the exact location, you can feel that it is somewhat far away from Asia, right? Or it is somewhat far away from Russia. But I know that Black Sea is in news in connection with Russia, Ukraine, and similar countries. So using that, I am eliminating for the right now, for the moment, I am eliminating 2. If 2 is wrong, then I am left with only option B, 1, 3 and 4, because option A, B and D, A, C and D can be eliminated easily. I am taking a trial and error method. Okay, if I eliminate 2, I am left with option B. So there is a possibility. Then I am going to Caspian Sea, Kazakhstan. Obviously Caspian Sea is in the Russian side. Okay. So Kazakh can be a possible one. Then Mediterranean Sea, Morocco. Most of the people might not be knowing that where the location of Morocco is. So we will leave it there. Then Red Sea, Syria. Syria is always in news, right? From the Arab Spring, from that time, Syria is always in news. It is one of the few places where the Arab Spring or the Jasmine Revolution was unable to overthrow the ruler at that time. So still Bashar al-Assad is ruling there. So Red Sea, Syria is easily eliminatable because Red Sea is near the Egypt, Saudi bordering area. So Syria is in West Asia. So we can eliminate statement 5. And if I eliminate 5, I can easily eliminate option C and D. That means again I am going towards option B. If I eliminate 5, I am left with A and B. If I eliminate 2, I am left with B. So in these two scenarios, I am left with B. So that should be my answer, right? That should be my answer. In two scenarios, so using two different eliminations, I am left with option B. So the probability is more for option B. So I am going with it. Okay, next one. This is an interesting one. Similar to the previous polity questions where I told you that UPSC is misleading you to the wrong answer. So this is a similar question where most of the aspirants publish the wrong answer. Okay. In the context of which of the following do some scientists suggest the use of cirrus cloud thinning technique and the injection of sulfate aerosol in the stratosphere? Look, this is the thing that is misleading you. Cirrus cloud thinning. Cloud. The word cloud is there, and if you look at the first option, creating artificial rain in some regions. So the cloud is there and creating artificial rain in some regions. You will easily go to the OMR sheet and bubble option A, right answer. See, this is the way of UPSC misleading you. Just go through the rest of the options and be sure that your answer is right. I am going to option B, reducing the frequency and intensity of tropical cyclones. That cannot be a possibility with some chemical interventions. I cannot reduce the intensity of a tropical cyclone. If that was possible, then we would have already employed it, because usually Bay of Bengal tropical cyclones are devastating the eastern regions of India. So if that was a possibility, then we would have already employed it. And since tropical cyclone cannot be controlled using some chemical substances, we can eliminate that one. Then reducing the adverse effects of solar wind on Earth. No. That also we cannot predict the correct path, or we still do not know how to deal with it. That's a phenomenon which is severe than the tropical cyclones, because those are solar winds. So I can eliminate that also. Then reducing global warming. So these A and D are probably right answers. Since cloud is there, most of the students will go behind option A. Now again look at the statement. It is saying that I'm not going to geography lessons, just using some local knowledge or some common sense or some myself logic, I am going behind it. I am not looking at this cirrus, I am going behind this cloud thinning. As per my knowledge, if it is to rain, there should have a good amount of cloud, right? If the cloud is big enough, then we will get good rain. If the cloud is thin, we will get very small rain. So if they are using the technique of cloud thinning, then there can be a chance for less rainfall only, right? I am not looking whether it is nimbus cloud or cirrus cloud. I am just looking at this word, cloud thinning. If the cloud is thin, there can be less rainfall. That is my logic. That is what I have applied in this exam, in the prelims. So cloud is thin, so I am eliminating this option A. So that left me to reducing global warming. And also again look at the next part, injection of sulfate aerosol. From the very small classes I have heard that if sulfur is present in the air, then there can be chance of acid rain. See, I am not following any particular or obvious or correct material or correct sources. I am just following my gut feelings. I am just following my logic. That is what I will say. Okay. Sulfate aerosol injection into the stratosphere. So something related to sulfate is being injected into the atmosphere. So as per my logic, that can cause sulfate, that can cause what? Acid rain. So that's an adverse effect on the atmosphere. So in these two cases, I will eliminate it. And then coming to the next one. If you are a serious aspirant, you can easily eliminate it because aerosol into the stratosphere. Almost all the weather events happen in the troposphere. So if you are an aspirant who have gone through NCERT geography, you can eliminate it from this word only. Injected into the stratosphere, and all our weather events like rain happen in the troposphere. So you can eliminate option A easily. So using your NCERT knowledge, you can eliminate it. Using my logic, the logic that I have applied, which I know it is not an accurate way to crack the questions, but I have used these techniques to ensure that my answer is right. Okay. Okay. So we'll conclude this session with this question from Gupta period, a question from Gupta period. Okay. So I think we have already covered polity very much, economics very much, modern India, science and technology, environment, geography, so some from ancient. Okay, with reference to forced labor vishti in India during the Gupta period, which of the following statements is correct? It was considered a source of income for the state and a sort of tax paid by the people. Yeah, that can be a good one because it is forced labor. So people are forced to do labor for the state. So that can be a source, that can be considered as an income because they are doing it forcefully, they are doing it without any wages. So that can be considered a source of income. Okay. It was totally absent in Madhya Pradesh and Kathiawad regions of Gupta Empire. We cannot particularly point out some area and say that these were, this bonded labor was absent in that place. So logically that cannot be applicable. So if it was present in the Gupta Empire, it was present in the areas with the Gupta's rule, then it might have prevailed through the entire area. Okay. Then the third one, the forced labor was entitled to weekly wages. Usually it was a forced labor, so there is very less probability that they are getting paid. So I am eliminating that also because comparatively, when compared to option A, B is totally eliminatable and C has less scope of getting it as right one. So right now I am with A, and one more is there. The eldest son of the laborer was sent as the forced labor. There is no such distinction, whether it is the eldest son or the youngest son or the middle one. So comparatively statement 1 or first option is having an upper hand. So I am going with it, and that is the right one. So I hope you have got an idea of how to crack the statements in the prelims using your knowledge. You can do these process only if you are cool-minded in your exam hall, and if you do not unwantedly or if you do not surgically crack all those statements, there is no need to do surgery on statements. Just follow your gut feeling, just follow your logic, just follow your common sense, approach each statement. Look at scope of elimination, look at whether the statement can be eliminatable. There are portions where some statements can go wrong, but some statements like the one that I have shown earlier, some statements cannot go wrong. It is a positive statement, it cannot go wrong in any way. There is no way of making it a wrong one. So those statements we can taken it for granted as right one. So look at the avenues where statements can go wrong. That is your job. That is the first job you should do when you crack statements using your logic. Prelims is not an unassailable mountain, you know. It is easily crackable. With following some newspaper and reading some NCERTs and following these techniques, you can easily crack. You should not doubt your ability to crack the prelims. This 2022, the cutoff was around 88 marks. So the cutoff has come down very much, and so it is your chance to crack the prelims this year. Just follow the techniques that I have told you right now. Use it, at least use it to crack 1 or 2 previous year question before your prelims, and go and attend the prelims with a cool heart or cool mindedly. Okay. Hope you are having a good preparation season and all the best for your prelims.